Hello people! By popular demand, I have a new video for you. I know I haven't posted anything new in a while, but I'm not going to waste time giving out apologies and explanations. Real life happened, that's all I'm saying. But because so many people have been asking for this, I decided to finally get on things and give you all what you asked for. In the past, I started uploading videos of the top 10 strongest Digimon, going into detail and explaining why they are the strongest after extensive research. The last one I posted was back in April of 2020? Has it really been that long? Okay, wow, I'm not going to think about that. But this was an update to the original top 10 list that I posted back in January of 2015? Oh, I don't like how time works. But hey, look at that, it's been a 5-year jump for each update. And no, I did not plan that, it's pure coincidence. Anyway, over the years there have been a number of new powerful Digimon that have been added to the franchise and more information provided on ones that have already been released. Naturally, this is going to affect the list. At least you would think so, because the top 10 are so ridiculously OP that the thought of anyone surpassing them is pretty much outlandish. And yet it's happened, so here we are. I would recommend watching my past 2 videos for the top 10 strongest Digimon first, because this one will only be going over the new additions. So, just a quick recap. After the last update, the list was as followed. In 10th place was UltimateChaosmon. In 9th place was Chronomon Holy Mode. In 8th place was MegaDarknessBagramon. In 7th place was Ogudomon. In 6th place was Quartzmon. In 5th place was Huanlongmon. In 4th place was Shakamon. In 3rd place was Ogudomon X. In 2nd place was ZeedMillenniummon. In 1st place was Shoutmon X7F Superior Mode. I also included the theoretical Digimon that has yet to manifest, Gaiamon, as number 0 since he has yet to come into being. And no, this isn't the Appmon Gaiamon. Do not confuse the two. So yes, there has been some changes here, but before we get into that, I need to mention the inclusion of a new rule I set when making this list. I call this rule the single type entry, by which I mean that I'll only be allowing one version of the same type of Digimon. Let me explain. So, we know that there are different versions of the same Digimon. For example, there's WarGreymon, but then there's also Black WarGreymon, who's just a dark version of WarGreymon with dark powers. 2 technically different Digimon, but the same type. If either of them made the list, I would only have had one of them on it. So for sake of argument, let's say that Imperial Ultramon would hold the 10th place. Well, there's also Black Imperial Ultramon, Imperial Ultramon Fighter Mode, Black Imperial Ultramon Fighter Mode, and Imperial Ultramon Paladin Mode. Instead of having 5 spots with different versions of Imperial Ultramon, I would only take the strongest version of him and nix the rest. The reason I added this rule is because if I didn't, half of this list will have duplicates of different versions of the same Digimon. You'll see what I mean later. Now, this will affect the list a little bit. Like, say for example, MegaDarknessBagramon was the 11th strongest Digimon, WarGreymon was the 10th strongest, and Black WarGreymon was the 9th. This would eliminate WarGreymon as the 10th and bring MegaDarknessBagramon onto it as the new 10th. Get it? Don't worry, at the end of the video, I'll provide an accurate top 10 list with the duplicate Digimon, but for getting into detail with them, I'm using this rule. On that note, this rule is going to remove Ogudomon from the list since I already have Ogudomon X on it. So now that that's been established, let's get to it. So, the first new addition to this list would be this guy, Proximamon. But before I can tell you about him, we need to take a look at this guy, Arcturusmon. But before we can get into him, we have to look at this, a substance called the Gullus Realm Burst Contagion, or GRB factor for short. This is an evil, dark, corruptive substance that infects Digimon and causes them to go wild and become violent, but greatly amplifies their strength and power, making them immensely stronger, even allowing them to defeat Digimon levels above them when this shouldn't be possible. Now, in regards to Arcturusmon, he's technically not a real Digimon, at least not yet. Like Gaiamon, he's a theoretical Digimon that has yet to manifest. When research on the GRB factor was being done, hundreds of tests and simulations were done, and it was confirmed that under the right circumstances, if large amounts of GRB factor were injected into a Digimon, they would digivolve into Arcturusmon. Now, because Arcturusmon has never actually appeared, this is hypothetical, but the simulations indicate that the amount of dark energy used in them to cause Arcturusmon to manifest greatly surpassed that of any other identified Digimon, indicating that if Arcturusmon ever appeared, he would cause a digital hazard that would reshape the digital world. Though it's still unknown of how strong Arcturusmon actually is, and all this remains hypothetical. And now, putting Arcturusmon aside for now, let's take a look at this guy, Siriusmon. This guy is so powerful that he was able to break the horn of Langmon, the Demon Lord of Lust, scratch the outer shell of Quartzmon, who currently holds the number 6 spot on this list, And with some help, he was able to destroy the human corpse that ZeedMillenniummon was using to resurrect himself through. Well, if we take Arcturusmon and DNA Digivolve him with Siriusmon, we get Proximamon, and he's going to take the spot on this list as the number 6 spot, putting Quartzmon and everyone else back a spot. Now, you may be asking yourself, if Arcturusmon and Siriusmon are needed to make Proximamon, and Arcturusmon is a theoretical Digimon who never manifested, wouldn't that make Proximamon theoretical too? And should he then not actually be on the list the way Gaiamon isn't? Well, ordinarily, you would be right. But here's the thing. While Siriusmon and Arcturusmon can DNA Digivolve to become Proximamon, DNA Digivolving is essentially a bit of a shortcut, as Siriusmon could actually Digivolve to Proximamon on his own without Arcturusmon. Me mentioning Arcturusmon was simply meant to give you an idea of how strong he was, to provide you an understanding of how strong Proximamon is, since Proximamon is Siriusmon plus Arcturusmon, plus the power multiplier gained through Digivolution. His attacks include Extinction Cloud, which allows him to break down all matter into the smallest constituent parts, and Light of Recreation, which allows him to recreate what he disassembled into a new existence. Using both holy and demonic energies, he's stated to be so powerful that just the mere fact that he exists would rip apart all nearby Digimon and the surrounding environment and recreate it, and he could potentially rewrite the entire digital world in an instant. Due to this, his very existence is kept a secret. Next up on this list, we're going to take a look at another returner, and that's Huanlongmon. For a quick recap, Huanlongmon is born from the DNA Digivolution of the Digimon Sovereigns Azulomon, Baihumon, Ibanumon, and Shakamon. He's made entirely of Huanglong ore, which is so hard that it's impossible to inflict any damage upon him, and is so powerful that he can obliterate the entire digital world into non-existence by continuously disassembling it into light and darkness for all eternity. And even the protective barrier he creates is so powerful that the side effects causes natural disasters. The reason I bring him up is because we're taking a look at this guy, Fanglongmon Ruin Mode, who was renamed from Huanlongmon Ruin Mode for some reason. Basically, he's a Huanlongmon who went berserk after having hateful energy poured into him. In short, he's an evil, more powerful version of Huanlongmon with dark power in addition to the power he originally had. As such, since I'm using the single type entry rule that I mentioned earlier, rather than adding Huanlongmon Ruin Mode to the list, he's going to replace the original Huanlongmon and take his spot, since he's just a stronger, evil version of him. His attacks include Raikou, which fires red lightning, Kaimaiso, which creates a tornado of black flames on the scale of a natural disaster, and Mukyok, which swallows the entire digital world in a dark void, and that there is our number 5 spot. And now we're getting to a big one, another new addition, and it once again includes taking a look at Huanlongmon. He has a unique ability to digivolve into a digital life form that's not a Digimon. There are many digital life forms that are not Digimon, and this is one of them. It's simply called Master, and is even stated to be an Ultra level, the super rare level above Omega. But this list is about Digimon, not digital life forms. Otherwise, I would have the likes of Neo, or the D-Reaper, or the Mother Eater on here. So Master is not included. But let's put him aside for now, and take a look at this guy, Boltboutamon. But first, we need some backstory. If you don't know, there's a place in the digital world called the Dark Area, where all evil data is deleted to. It's the source of all evil in the digital world, found beneath the Net Ocean and connects to the Dark Ocean. In fact, Daemon and Langmon were once a Seraphimon and Ophanimon that fell into the Dark Ocean and emerged as demon lords. Well, one day a being called the Malevolent Fist appeared. This being was a manifestation of the Dark Area itself, and it was not only strong enough to destroy the entire world, it was more powerful than all 7 demon lords put together, so much so that they tried and failed to stop it from manifesting. However, as a Malevolent Fist, it lacked a physical body, so what it did was possess Myotismon and Appmon, who was the strongest of the Dark Masters that sealed away the Digimon Sovereigns. While possessing them both, the Malevolent Fist forcibly merged them together, and all 3 of them digivolved into Boltboutamon, who is stated to be the most vile and wicked of all Digimon. Now, if as the Malevolent Fist alone, he was already more powerful than all 7 Demon Lords, just imagine how powerful he is as Boltboutamon. Not to mention he has more attacks than any other Digimon, and he seeks to replace the Demon Lord's darkness with his own superior darkness. Well, Boltboutamon managed to digifuse with Master, and that's where we get this guy, Boltboutamon Fusion. I know, not the most creative name, but he's jumping all the way to the number 3 spot on this list. pushing everyone else back a spot. We're talking about someone who is the combination of the Digivolution of someone more powerful than the now former number 5 spot, and someone born from the DNA Digivolution of a Dark Master Myosmon, and someone more powerful than all the Demon Lords put together. While not much information is available about him, his Digivolution line alone warrants his spot on this list. His attacks include Palazzi Rentler, Frozen Mist, and an attack that doesn't even have a name that fires a barrage of beams from a dark sphere of energy he creates. Now, I would also like to know that there is another Digimon that can Digifuse with Master, and that Digimon is Plutomon, the combination resulting in Boltboutamon Fusion, who is basically the same as Boltboutamon Fusion, just with Plutomon instead. But, as per my single type entry rule, I'm picking the more powerful Boltboutamon Fusion instead. And so there we go, the new additions and alterations to the top 10 list. However, before we wrap things up, there's one more thing I want to address. Ever since I made my first Top 10 Strongest Digimon video, there's been some dispute about whether Shoutmon X7F Superior Mode is more powerful than ZeedMillenniummon. It was a valid dispute, and while I ultimately decided that while ZeedMillenniummon would most likely win in a fight due to all his hack abilities, Shoutmon was ultimately the more powerful of the two. However, we now have confirmation of which of the two is stronger, and I was correct in my analysis that Shoutmon is stronger. In the remake of the original Digimon Adventure series, ZeedMillenniummon actually makes an appearance. Before I address that though, can we just take a moment to appreciate the sheer size of him? Titan was only this big compared to Gaiamon. Gaiamon is like smaller than a louse compared to Millenniummon, and while Goldramon and MegaDarknessBagramon are almost as big as Millenniummon, they're the size of amoebas compared to just the tip of the tail of ZeedMillenniummon. But enough digression. When ZeedMillenniummon appears, he's challenged by Gaiamon, which is ridiculous as ZeedMillenniummon should literally be able to completely erase Gaiamon from existence simply by thinking in his direction. However, Gaiamon actually manages to defeat ZeedMillenniummon with what's essentially a spirit bomb straight out of Dragon Ball Z, as he absorbs the energy from all the Digimon in the world and uses it to create a giant ball of energy that he not only uses to destroy ZeedMillenniummon, but he actually one-shots him with it. So, as we can clearly see, the power of all the Digimon of the world was enough to destroy ZeedMillenniummon, and who has that type of power? That's right, Shoutmon X7F Superior Mode, since he's made up of all the Digimon of the world, meaning he indeed has the power to destroy ZeedMillenniummon with a single attack, thus proving that he is the more powerful of the two, solidifying his position above ZeedMillenniummon as number 1, even if I still think his use of Digifusion to get there is the BS way to take the title. And so there we have it, the top 10 strongest Digimon as of 2025. But as I said at the beginning, I would also give you the list of the strongest Digimon without the single type entry rule, in which case it would look like this. As you can see, if I didn't include that rule, pretty much half of this list would be different versions of the same Digimon. And really, where's the fun in that? So if you want to follow my single type entry rule, this is what the top 10 are. If not, then this is what it technically actually is. And who knows how this list will change in the future. Digimon is still an ongoing franchise, and who knows what we'll get as the series progresses. But I'll definitely be there to keep an eye out for it, so make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.